So we are talking to Purvi Chothani today. She's a prominent immigration lawyer, and we are talking to her to address some very serious immigration-related issues and changes in the U.S. Immigration policy, which were announced recently and which have had a sort of a cascading effect on several Indians on H-1B and H-4 visas. So Purvi, it all started with an announcement from USCIS regarding social media profiles of students, student visa applicants were already being reviewed, but now this rule has been extended to H4 and H1B visa applicants too. So if you can explain the issue as to what exactly is happening and why is it causing so much of distress and panic?
So, what has happened is a few months ago. So, basically, let's start at the beginning. When President Trump took power in January, he announced that he's going to make sure that only people who are not against America, not anti-American policies or anything, will be allowed into the country. So, he's made this generic criteria that only America friendly people can be allowed into the country. So that's not part of the statute. So now to give it teeth, the different agencies have come out with policy announcements, and the policy announcements are basically in two buckets. The Department of Homeland Security through the USCIS and the Customs and Border Patrol have made their own announcements, and the Department of States and the embassies and consulates under that are bound by the Department of State announcement. So the F1 visa vetting is under the Department of State, and all that is part of the extreme vetting standard that the government agencies are required to follow. So that is what has happened. So F1 students were already being scrutinized, but now this has been extended to H and H4 visas, and we're expecting that it is soon going to come to even tourist visa applicants. So we should be prepared. We should brace ourselves. And they've also said they're going to ask for social media information and vet that for people from Europe, Australia, Japan, Singapore, all those countries that are under what is known as the visa waiver program. So we should not think that this is targeted at any one country. It is a worldwide policy change or worldwide scrutiny that the American government has imposed or introduced.
Yes, but what has, as a result of this, sort of extending this policy to H4 and H1B, there has been a fallout on applicants of these visas who are Indians, who are in India. And, if you could explain that a little bit, that they need a visa stamping while they are in India, for which they need to get an appointment, which they, usually appointments are, you can only fix an appointment a couple of weeks or months even away. So people already fix those appointments before they travel. And now we know that because of this additional social media vetting, the US consulates and the embassy feel that they need more time. So what they are doing is they are pushing back appointments. They are, changing the schedules. And if you could explain how is it hitting many of these Indians?
Right. So the timing of this policy change is really devastating for many of the H1B population, and I'll explain why. So this announcement, the policy change was announced a few weeks ago, I would say, but it is being implemented from December 15th. It has to be implemented from December 15th. So for every H1B visa or H4 visa applicant, the consulate has to manually check their social media profiles, and that needs more man hours. So to process those visa applications, they needed to space them out. And that's why they had to reschedule many appointments 3 4 months down the line. So to give you an example, people who were scheduled for December 15 to December 18 have all gone to March, the corresponding or similar dates in March 2026, and so on and so forth. The latest we have seen so far is January first week dates being pushed out to June. We haven't seen anything more than that. We've also heard of this happening at other locations. It's happening across India, what we call Mission India, and it is happening in other locations. We've heard it's happening in Vietnam and Ireland. But this is not to say it won't happen in other locations. But India being the busiest posts, one of the busiest posts, and the largest H1B community in the United States comes from India, the impact on India is very, very devastating. And let me further explain why. This is the season, the winter season, when people take a break from their work and come to India for family functions, to get married, to attend marriages, to see their parents, to get away from the cold. Just take their annual vacation to come and spend Christmas holidays with their family if they celebrate that, etc. So this is a season of heavy traffic of H1B workers coming to India. And of course, they would like to take this opportunity to book their visa appointment and get a fresh visa stamp if their visa is expired or is going to expire soon. So this is a normal pattern we see every year. Now, what has happened is that these people, many of them who had their appointments in December 15, 17, 18, whatever, they're already in India. They've already arrived and are waiting for their appointment. Some of them have finished their biometrics and are waiting for their visa interview. So these people now cannot go back to America because they don't have a visa. They have to wait till March when their next visa appointment is scheduled, because they've been told that if you come to the interview, you will be denied admission into the consulate or embassy to the earlier appointment. So now the only thing they can do is wait and watch. And of course, they're scrambling to find earlier appointments if possible. But so far, I've not heard of anybody being able to reschedule because the appointments are just not available. As it is to get appointments in India is very difficult. For example, business visa appointments are only available a year down the road. H1Bs you were generally getting between 4 to 8 weeks you were able to do, but now even that is not available. Add to this the problem that many people were going to travel to India. They're still in America and they were going to travel to India. I would say not add to the problem, but the good thing actually is that these people have got notices their appointment has been rescheduled before they left America for their visa stamping. So that is good news. The bad news is that many of them who were CAP approved, they've been approved under the recent CAP filing of 20 if financial year 2026. Those people also had many appointments fixed during this December period. They are also impacted. So it's returning H1B workers, first time H1B workers, worst impact. The ones who are in America are relatively safe. They have to cancel their travel plans, but they can at least come when they have their appointment.
Right. So those who are already in America need to cancel their travel plans. There's no problem there. That's what they need to do. But the ones who are already in India and who had dates around December, sometime in December, which have now got pushed to March. So they'll have an impact on what, on their jobs, on their their lives in the US. So if do you have any advice for them? What is it they could do, and what are the some of the points that they need to keep in mind right now? I mean, what should be their plan of action?
So one thing that I'm advising clients to do, and I know it seems like a futile exercise, but it's still important to do, is keep looking for an earlier appointment if possible, because cancellations happen. New visa appointments do come up. So see if you can reschedule your appointment. But remember, you can only reschedule once, because earlier you could reschedule appointments multiple times, but earlier this year they have truncated that, and you can only reschedule once. So be very careful, but do try and reschedule if possible. People who've not finished their biometric appointments, if they log into their account, they may find there's an opportunity to request an expedited appointment. But in this one, I would say be extremely careful, and only if your case merits it, request that. Because if everybody starts requesting an expedited appointment, you're going to even clog up that system. So, for example, I have a client who's a medical oncologist in a hospital in Florida, and he needs to come back to America because his cancer patient's medical protocol is administered and decided by him. So he needs to come back. So he's a very good candidate to request an expedited appointment. But unfortunately, he's finished his biometrics. So his account does not have that expedite option. But whoever has that expedite option, and if they qualify, they should do it. If anyone says, I need to go back because I lose my job, they're not going to get an expedite appointment, and they're making a futile exercise, and they are clogging up the system. If you're going to say, I have a minor child who needs to get back to school, no, that's not an expedite request. It is life and death. It's multi-million dollar contracts that are getting affected, something like that. Then you do ask for an expedited appointment. The other thing they need to do is they need to negotiate with their employer in America. They should negotiate and request them to allow them to work remotely. Now, doctors cannot do that, but there are many IT professionals who could potentially do that. So, if they want to save their jobs, they should try to do that. Now, here also they need to be careful because when they go back to America, CBP officers are not very savvy about these nuances, and they say, oh, you worked in India, show me your LCA for India. Now, you will not have an LCA for India because H1B visas have to have labor condition applications or LCAs for work sites in America. Just because you have an H1B visa and you're sitting in India, your LCA is not going to list that. They don't have jurisdiction over India. So they need to be careful and they need to explain to CBP but that no, I am not subject to an LCA. Now, another word of caution. If possible, please avoid traveling through Abu Dhabi because CBP offices have officers sitting in Abu Dhabi in what we call pre-flight clearance, pre-flight immigration clearance. Those officers are even less experienced than the ones that let's say the ones at JFK or DC. They're less experienced and they have more time on their hands. So they do a very detailed scrutiny of all the travelers, and they are the ones who are actually canceling visas and turning people back to India when they cannot understand what's happening. So these are some of the things they need to take care of. Now, you may have a house over there, you're paying mortgages, you may have a family, you may have left your spouse behind, your children behind. That is going to be devastating. There's nothing really much you can do about that. You just have to manage and power through. One more thing I wanted to say is yes, the population that did not leave America to get the visa stamping is safe, except for a very small community who had their own wedding scheduled in India. And they can't come for their own wedding now, which is a very sad population. I can tell you that they're really very upset. So, yeah, there are lots of human tragedies, or human sad stories. I wouldn't say tragedies, but human hardship stories in this. But just power through for 3 months and you'll be back.
Okay, so approximately you're saying 3 months is the
Is the ballpark we
extra
are saying.
time.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've covered it all, and it's not very good news at all. Is there any bright spot in this whole thing? Or like you said, people who haven't traveled yet are better off. But is there anything good that you can see? Do you think that there's a review possible? With so many people affected, do you think there could be some concessions or something?
I'm really not very hopeful for that because um, I mean, yes, let's say you have a company that has got about 100 of their employees who've come to India, let's say for stamping, and their business is getting impacted, and they go and file a case and say, you know what is happening? You need to do something. Yes, the court may give relief if they can show multi-million dollar harm, etc., etc. But I have not heard of any such traction as yet. The only thing I say, and this is, I mean, I'm saying it in a slightly lighter mode, if life throws you lemons, have lemonade or even go and make mojito. Go and have fun with your family who's here. Go and take a vacation. You've just got to make the best of the situation because no matter how much you bang your head on this problem, I don't think there's an easy solution, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Right. So you advise some kind of course correction, perhaps, for people who are caught in this
Yes.
situation.
Yeah, like I said, you
Right.
just have to make the best of it. But the main thing is try and save your job. Talk to HR, talk to your manager, talk to them. Make sure that they understand the situation and give you a little bit of leeway.
Right. Thanks a lot, Purvi. I think we've covered it all, and we'll perhaps come back to you as things develop. And I guess everyone is hoping for the best.
Yes, last word of caution, tourists. Remember, this is coming for us too. And you'll have to give 5 years of social media handles and information. So be prepared.
Right. Right. Be prepared
Yes.
is the your final
Yeah.
message.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. Pleasure
Welcome.
talking to
Pleasure
you as well.
talking to you. Thank you for inviting me.